This is Sick and Wrong, America's #1 source for antisocial commentary. Brought to you by the Reach Around Foundation.
Welcome to Sick and Wrong, America's #1 source for antisocial commentary. I'm one of your hosts, D. Simon.
I'm the other host, Lance Wackerly.
You know, Lance, I was thinking we should change it. Due to the number of emails we're getting internationally, we should maybe be the world's #1 source of antisocial commentary.
We'd have to check the statistics on that to see if it was a valid claim.
Yeah, but I mean, who's really checking the validity?
I'll check it right now.
On that imaginary computer that you're using?
Yeah, we're #1.
Okay, all
Next
right.
week.
Welcome to Sick and Wrong, the world's
Right
#1
now.
source for antisocial commentary. God, that sounds authoritative. Well, anyways, it's podcast 18. We're hitting that mark of 25. I'd like to thank the Reach Around Foundation for sponsoring this podcast. Such a great nonprofit that they are.
It's a great opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. Yeah,
to
definitely.
represent them. Although that guy told me not to use his name anymore.
Yeah, but you're welcome to go check out their website. I think it's like reacharoundfoundation.com, something like that.
Or .org. I don't.
Yeah, reacharoundfoundation.org.
I can't remember.
We have a lot to talk about this podcast. As I promised last week, I wanted to get to listener email, and we've been getting inundated with emails from across the world, really. We've been getting a lot of emails from, like, Europe.
You try and answer most of it, right?
I try to. I try.
hard.
But, I mean, dude, when you're getting, like, swamped
Right.
with, one a week. No. I mean, seriously, we've been getting a lot of emails, and I'd like to thank everyone for emailing sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com, and we'll try to answer as many as possible, but I have a few of note that I want to get to towards the end of this podcast. But right now, I just wanted to find out, how was your weekend there, Lance?
It was pretty good. I think I passed out at the bar at one point.
In your own puke?
No, not puking.
Did you rooster tail?
That's foul. No.
You know you had a good weekend when you actually managed to rooster tail.
Yeah, hopefully you do that at home.
For the uninformed, rooster tail is puking and shitting at the same time. But at least that didn't happen to you this weekend. You know what happened to me this weekend that I think has probably happened to a lot of guys across this nation, especially, is my girlfriend wanted to rent Brokeback Mountain. And I think you faced this situation yourself.
Yeah, I had to go through the process a couple weeks back.
Honestly, I don't have anything against that movie. I
don't have anything against gay people.
I don't have anything against gay people. I'm comfortable enough in my own sexuality that I can say I just didn't really want to see the movie.
Neither did I.
I really just was not interested in it. It looked kind of boring to me, and
it was really long,
and it was proven. I watched it this weekend. My girlfriend's like, "No, let's check it out," and I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't mind. I'll check it out. And we're watching it, and I was just like, yeah, that movie's pretty fucking boring.
It's really long, and you can barely understand anything Heath Ledger says throughout the entire thing.
Well, there's no underneath the ball shots. Everyone's like, oh, the stunning cinematography and those pastoral shots of Wyoming. I didn't see one shot underneath the balls.
You wanted to see the scrotal planes of his pubes or something?
Well, dude, what are you watching a gay cowboy movie for? No, but seriously, I was watching it and I was like, dude, it might as well have been in Spanish because you couldn't understand a fucking word that Heath Ledger was trying to say.
Are you kidding her? I understand everything you're saying at all.
God, I wish I could quit you. Enos. What was his name? Like Ennis or Enos?
Let's just say it was Enos.
I think that wasn't it Enos. I think it was like the guy in Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, that was the deputy in the Dukes of Hazzard.
I honestly I can say Ang Lee is an amazing filmmaker, and they did have some cool shots in there, and there's some cool cinematography. But the story, I really didn't find it, all that engaging. Like, and plus it was like overly ambitious. It spanned like their whole 30 years of their lives.
Yeah, but they kind of looked the same throughout the entire movie. You made the point that the way you tell how old they are is their sideburns get bigger.
Yeah, their sideburns get larger and just kind of they just kind of grow and they become like gray.
Jack Twist, the Jake Gyllenhaal character, gets a pretty good homo mustache when he gets older.
Oh yeah, he does get the handlebar mustache. You'd think that would have given it away to their wives.
They're cowboys. They can have facial hair and still be straight.
What was your favorite scene of that movie, though?
My favorite scene of that movie...
to catch you off guard, because I know there were many.
Well, the initial tent scene is pretty good.
Oh, the initial tent scene?
Get in here. Oh, wait, that's the wrong guy. Well, Ennis was outside, and Jack Twist invites him into the tent, and you just know what's going to happen next.
I'm trying to think of my favorite scene probably was when the one wife catches them making out, and she's just shocked.
Yeah.
It was just kind of cool. It was just the shocker. But all in all, I was kind of disappointed with that movie. I didn't think it was that great. We actually kind of had a homo film fest this weekend. We run it Capote as well, and that movie, on the other hand, was amazing.
That's a good Sick and Wrong movie.
Yeah, it was a very good Sick and Wrong movie. I recommend that one highly to the audience, and go check out Brokeback Mountain, especially you people over in Europe. You can get a good slice of American life right there.
Americana.
Yeah, a good slice of Americana in that movie. But Capote was a really good movie, and I actually, personally, I think that should have won Best Picture.
Yes.
But then again, I'm not in the Academy, and for good reason. For good reason. But anyways, moving along, and we got to get to our articles here. But once again, I'd like to thank everyone for voting so assiduously for our articles here. I know
I would especially like to thank you because I housed you last week.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. In podcast 17, we unanimously, people voted for the meth head who tried to commit suicide with the nails. We must have had like 10 votes for that.
Right. How many votes did you get for yours?
I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, I had 0 votes for my article, so I technically got housed. So I was thinking, since I got housed last week, I should be able to choose whether I want to go first or second this week.
So which is it?
I think I'm going to go first this week because I feel that I might get housed again. But I'm willing to lay the cards out on the table and just call it and go first this week.
Come out of the gates.
So my article's pretty decent, and yeah, let's get this show started. As most people know, the way Sick and Wrong works is a competition. Sick and Wrong is not only do we discuss news articles here, it's also a competition. And Lance and I are competing for a case of beer. Whoever finds the most disturbing, disgusting, repulsive article of the week gets a case of beer from the loser. And it's decided by you, the listening audience. So make sure you email us at sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com and vote for me this time, you fucking ingrates. Okay, let's get my article here for podcast 18. Boy details sword killing of stepdad. I don't know if you might remember this article. This actually happened several months ago, but just this week, the boy detailed, the murderer actually detailed what exactly happened.
I don't remember this story at all. So
you don't remember this?
So
this
is new to me.
This happened a couple months ago. A lovely Long Island teenager apparently snapped and killed his stepfather with a samurai sword as the retired NYPD cop napped on the living room couch. I guess his name's Zach Gibeon. He's 18 years old. Popular high school senior. Is one of the popular crowd. He grabbed the sword from his stepdad's World War II collection of weaponry.
Wow.
And walked in and basically sliced his head off.
You think his dad got it off of eBay or something?
I don't know. It seemed like he had a pretty expansive collection of weaponry in the garage.
I'm thinking eBay.
Yeah. According to the prosecutor, it was a quick murder. The second blow was almost instantaneous. Severed his spinal cord. And, he severed his spinal cord with the second swing and almost immediately killed him.
That kid's got skills.
Yeah, and the mom came downstairs, found her husband, in a pool of his own blood, called 911 after finding the blood-soaked body. Meanwhile, the kid fled from the house but returned later and was arrested. And what's weird about this article is there's no history of violence with this kid. He's a popular kid, did well in school, and his, the father was a cop.
Stepfather.
The stepfather was a cop. So the mystery abounds in this article. It's like, why would something like this happen?
They don't give motive?
Well, no, this is what happened. So the boy detailed this week the killing.
Oh, okay.
And as he confessed, he detailed what happened. So holding one fist over the other, high above his left shoulder, then thrusting diagonally downward.
That's good form.
Zachary Gibeon reenacted a videotape confession played in court yesterday how he killed his stepfather with a samurai sword. They're deciding whether or not to admit this confession in the trial. It's a murder trial. But Gibeon said he killed his stepfather because Nager, the father's name is Scott Nager, was verbally and psychologically abusive to him and his mother. So Gibeon recalled the morning of the murder. He found his mother crying after a especially heated argument with her husband. Quote unquote, I told my mom, Gibeon said, stammering and taking long pauses, that she should go upstairs. I said that I told her that I was basically going to kill my father, which is kind of funny. So he goes up to his mom. He's like, she's crying. She just had, a heated exchange. And he's like, hey, Mom, go upstairs. I'm going to go kill Dad.
Make it all better.
And so the mom goes upstairs. I just don't understand that.
Parents just don't listen to their kids anymore.
Yeah, but let's say you're married. Your son comes up and he's just like, I got in an argument with Mom, and I'm going to go kill her, so can you go upstairs for a second? What would you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I would not go upstairs.
I would probably be like, well, why are you going to kill
I'd be like,
Dad, son?
What the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so Gibeon recalled walking to the garage where Nager stored some of his weapons from his World War II collection, and he grabbed a samurai sword off the wall. So that's another weird thing here. So the guy's an NYPD
you gotta lock that
cop.
shit up, right?
Well, yeah, but he keeps it in the garage. And number two is, why does he have a World War II collection? Was he a Nazi? Who collects World War II swords and keeps them in the garage?
Yeah, Nazis.
He was asking for it.
He probably is a Nazi.
He probably is. He's a cop. I could see that. So Gibeon said he returned to the house to find his stepfather. Quote unquote, he was lying on the couch and he was sleeping. I came from behind. Kind of sounds like Brokeback Mountain. Right? He kind of did that approach like Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
So he came from behind. Simulating the motion, Gibeon told the prosecutor, I went straight across like this and cut his neck. Gibeon said the blow woke Nager, his stepfather, who immediately cursed, and this is the weird part, said he dreamed that Gibeon was trying to kill him. Isn't that just kind of strange?
I don't even understand. The guy's dead. How do they know what he dreamed?
No, he took 2 blows to kill him. So what he did is he sliced him first, one good shot with a samurai sword. And, the sword must have been kind of sharp, so the guy obviously must have been sharpening his swords. It's kind of weird that it was a samurai sword anyways. I didn't know that, I guess it was Japanese World War II.
Axis.
Yeah, so maybe he was a Japanese Nazi.
Yeah, but I assume if they say he had a bunch of World War II weapons, he probably had German
weapons
and Japanese and all that.
But
Italian.
So I guess he didn't kill him with the first blow. And so he actually woke him up, and his stepfather started cursing. I imagine he was saying something along the lines of, what the fuck are you doing? He wasn't, he could actually speak. So he was cursing, and then he actually said that he dreamed that the kid was trying to kill him.
Okay.
I don't think it was a wet dream. I don't think it was.
It was probably very wet, but it wasn't semen. It was just blood spurting everywhere all over the couch.
But probably. Vivid dream. So the kid said that he swung again, and then the prosecutor was like, so what happened when you swung again? He died. But I guess it plumb near cut his head off.
Yeah.
No, it actually severed his spinal cord, and he almost immediately died.
But you just ruined the couch.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to Scotch guard against that.
You couldn't even give that thing away free on Craigslist.
No, seriously, that couch is destroyed.
You can't just turn the cushion over.
Not with a big blood spot like that.
No, because it's probably on the back, too.
I wonder if his head, because it says it severed his spinal cord. Do you think his head was just kind of hanging off like a flap?
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing.
Wow, so the mother actually went downstairs and found her abusive husband just sitting there with, decapitated. God, that would have been that would have been traumatic. I guess the murdered father, his sister, called Gibeon's demeanor chilling and said that it was proof that he is a cold-blooded murderer, no more, no less. I don't know. Gibeon's attorney said the confession was staged and rehearsed and came only after police threatened to charge his mother, who has multiple sclerosis, instead with the murder.
So the stepdad had a fight with his mom, but they don't really say what the fight was about, right?
No, I think it was just one of many fights. He was psychologically abusive. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess he had a fight with his mom. They also said that he was fighting. Yeah, he was fighting with his stepfather over the teen's use of the car and a recent trip to visit his biological father. So it might have had more to do than that.
See, that was going to be my first guess. Like, the dad wouldn't let the kid use the car. He was trying to make the kid do his homework. The kid broke up with his girlfriend, and all the stupid teenager shit.
There had to be some issue that culminated in this.
Right.
I mean, you don't just do this like on a whim here. But I guess a relative of the family said that the family life was not good. But they said that the boy was a lovely boy, charming and responsible, but not without his problems. Apparently.
A little hot-headed.
So anyways,
Apparently.
in summation, I'm going to have to give this... It's kind of sick the way he, plumb near cut his head off. Cold-blooded murder with a sword. Instead of just walking in there, he could have just walked in there and capped him a couple times, in the head.
Has guns.
So
right? Ex-cop or current cop?
It's a current cop for the NYPD. So, he could have just taken the gun and went in there and capped him a couple times. But since he was original and creative, I'm going to have to give this about a 7.
I'll give it a 7.5.
So on the sick and wrong scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give it about a 7. You're giving it a 7.5?
Just because of samurai sword involvement, exotic weaponry, teen angst run amok.
It's not often that you get to hear good domestic, violence like this using a samurai sword.
Yeah, I think a couple weeks ago we had the microwave beating. That was pretty good. But this guy, he had some ambitions of grandeur,
Well, it was kind of cool. Maybe he was a ninja inside or something.
Or he wanted to be.
I don't know. Well, it was mighty generous of you. And, I invite you to vote, listening audience, Sick and Wrong Podcast at hotmail.com. But right now, let's see what you got.
I feel kind of bad for you.
Senior Wackerly.
I feel kind of bad for you.
Are you going to slay me?
Yeah, you might want to call me Hair Wackerly this week.
Air Wackerly.
Yeah, however you pronounce it. I have a story from Germany.
Okay. Lance Wackerly, ladies and gentlemen.
We haven't had many outside the U.S. stories lately, have we?
Dude, I was looking for a story from New Zealand or Australia, which is usually a mine for sick and wrong stories, but I haven't found anything. But Germany, apparently.
This one is from Frankfurt an der Oder, Germany. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right. But German mom on trial for baby deaths.
Baby deaths.
Plural.
Multiple deaths.
Police arrested Sabine Hilschens after discovering the remains of 9 infants. 9.
9?
9 infants in July.
God, dude, a 9 count.
Buried in flower pots.
Dude, this article's already killing my article.
The infants were buried in flower pots and a fish tank in the garden of her parents' home in a village in eastern Germany near the Polish border. Hilschens, 40, appeared Thursday before a state court where she faces 8 charges of manslaughter. Because the ninth
What about the 9th kid?
The 9th kid was too long ago, and in German law, it's past the statute of limitations for her to be accused of anything.
Dude, what's the statute of limitations in Germany? 6 months?
I don't know, but there's some funny German legal aspects in the story. Here's another one right here.
I'm just not that familiar with German law.
They haven't charged her with murder because there was insufficient evidence that she had intended to hide her crime, which...
Dude, if the kid's found in a flower pot in an aquarium, how is that insufficient?
Under German law, a key element of a murder charge is that you have to hide your act. So if you just go out in a big crowd and just blow somebody's head off, apparently in Germany...
Was that manslaughter?
I guess it is.
Because you're not trying to... So were they saying it wasn't premeditated? Or the fact that she was trying to conceal what she had done?
If you don't try and conceal it... according to this article, that's all I'm going off of. If you don't try to conceal your crime, you can't prove murder in Germany.
Huh.
Yeah, funny, huh?
Yeah, dude. It seems like you can get away with a lot in that country.
So she's on trial now. That's why the story's coming out now. She told the judge...
No wonder Hitler was so successful.
Yeah, he's pretty obvious about it. Open.
He was pretty much open. I mean, the gas showers and everything.
That was one of the great things about Hitler. You always knew where he stood on the issues.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hiding
what
that.
his intentions were. So last August, she was in court, in a preliminary hearing, and she told the judge she could only clearly remember 2 of the births because she was drunk when she went into labor with the other 7.
Probably drinking a nice, harsh German stout.
Yeah, here's her quote.
Guinness. No, wait, that's Irish.
We already had 3 children. Yeah, Heffa, Weissen, something like that. We already had 3 children.
Abortion?
Late term, I think. That's what you call this. We already had 3 children, and my husband didn't want any more children. So she would just have the babies and then murder them immediately.
Dude, what is she using? The Chinese method of birth control?
Oh.
Ooh, that was a low blow.
No more Chinese listeners to this show, I guess. She said she had drowned, not the babies, her sorrow over the babies' deaths in more alcohol, and had not had herself sterilized because she feared a gynecologist would notice traces of the births.
So apparently...
you have yourself sterilized before the birth. She's a little unclear on the concept.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they're also unclear on the concept of birth control. Do they have condoms in Germany?
There's so many other birth control methods besides condoms that, how about you just stop fucking?
That actually might work. Abstinence. And I think in that case, abstinence might have worked.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that because these people like to fuck. She's just going to murder the 9 babies. They found that they think the children died shortly after birth between the years of 1988 and 1998. So there's 10 years, 9 babies.
She would just squeeze out this puppy and then just go and dump it in a flower pot?
Or a fish. Well, 8 of them were in flower pots, or maybe multiple in maybe she had 2 or 3 in one flower pot, 2 in another, and then there was a fish tank with 1 baby fetus corpse in it also.
She must have had a hell of a garden. I imagine the babies probably make good fertilizer.
The woman wrapped the corpses in plastic bags and buried them in flower pots, which initially were kept on the balcony of her apartment. I imagine people...
It's almost like art.
I wonder if there were actually plants in the flower pots, being fertilized with the baby corpses.
Well, my question is, what did someone come over and was like, wow, I really like your tulips. What's this? What are you using to make these flowers grow so,
6 months ago, you had 6 flower pots out here, but now you have 7. You're really building up your garden here, aren't you? Oh, yes. Yeah.
Ja, ist guten, ja, Scheiße.
Her 43-year-old ex-husband now, I suppose they were husband and wife back then.
That's grounds for divorce.
I suppose that when all the fucking was going on, they were probably still married. He was called as a witness, but the former officer with East Germany's secret police also refused to testify.
So who found out about this? I mean, did someone come to the house? Did the children, roll over on the mom?
They don't say how they figured this out in the article, but that's a good question. I didn't even think of that.
We might have to do a follow-up to this one.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to follow it.
But they did a search in her house and found, the plastic, the baggies. The baggies with babies.
Somebody must have tipped them off that there was something screwy going on with these flower pots and the fish tank. Cause,
I don't understand about the fish tank. Were there fish in the tank?
No, I think it was a fish tank with a bunch of dirt in it and then a baby body buried in the dirt.
See, I was envisioning a bunch of fish swimming around. You know how some people put castles or skulls in their tank? They just have this baby floating in a bag, and fish just kind of go and take a nibble every now and then.
They don't know how they're unclear about why nobody ever noticed she was pregnant with these 9 pregnancies.
Maybe they just thought she was fat. I mean, she drinks a lot of beer.
Just a fatty.
Yeah, she's just probably a big German woman. Jesus, that's heartless. That's heartless. So, in the end, what are they charging her with? 9 counts of murder?
8 counts of manslaughter.
8 counts of manslaughter.
Because the first one was too long ago. 1988, they can't get you for that in Germany. It's kind of like in the United States, you have a credit report, and if you don't pay your electric bill, 7 years later, it's like it never happened. In Germany, if you murder 9 of your newborn infants, and it's been 10 years or 1988, that's 27,
yeah.
28 years ago.
You're going on 20 years.
Yeah. Apparently that also falls off your record in Germany.
Jesus,
It's just
dude,
a better
you can
country than here.
You can get away with anything. Because if this happened here, that woman, I mean, it's like that Andrea Yates lady in Texas who drowned like 5 of her babies.
Yeah, I've never heard of something just being languishing for so long that, she'd done this so long ago and just, guys, nothing ever came of it, and somebody finally found out. They said the flower pots and the fish tank were at her parents' house. Maybe her parents sort of got a funny feeling about these flower pots that their daughter was like, I want you to keep these on the porch.
Would you hold this? I call this one Johnny and this one little Gertrude.
Maybe they have the name.
This one's Helga.
They might have the names written on the outside of the flower pots.
And here, hold baby Adolf. Yeah. I mean, flower pot Adolf. Right. And this is Eichmann, and this is Mengele.
Or maybe the mom, had all these flower pots and told her daughter, hey, I'm going to plant some geraniums in these pots. And the daughter was like, no!
You can't do that. And, there's something in there.
That's how the story came out. I don't know.
But if she was in the U.S. and she did this, she'd have been like, yeah, I did it for Jesus. And then it would have been an insanity plea because Jesus told her to, bury the kids in a flower pot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it happens here. But I think she definitely would have been charged with murder.
One more point about this story, and I think it's the most important point to me.
Crucial?
It's the thing that makes the story for me.
The crux of the article.
Presiding Judge Matthias Fuchs.
How do you spell it?
Fuchs.
Wow. And I think it's pronounced Fuchs.
Well, okay, I'll give this to you also. You can be first on the shit list. I was about to say, anybody who emails in that it's not pronounced Fuchs, you can fucking suck my dick, because in my world, his name is Matthias Fuchs. Judge Fuchs.
So what did Judge Fuchs have to say about this?
Oh, nothing. I just like his name.
You just like his name.
Yeah.
That's a crucial point.
If I ever go on trial for a lot of baby murder, I want to be presided over by Judge Fuchs.
So, dude, this ranks pretty high on the sick and wrong scale. I think I'm willing to concede defeat here. But what are you going to give this? 1 to 10.
Every time I was in the court and, every day in the morning they say, all rise for presiding Judge Fuchs to come in, I would crack up.
If you're the bailiff?
I'd be like,
what do they call
it? Sir, we told you to stop giggling when you hear Judge Fuchs' name. Oh, anyways, I don't know. I think I'd give it an 8.8.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give this... No, you know what? I'm going to have to give this a point for each baby's death. So I'm going to have to give it 9.
Wow, yeah.
I'm going to have to give it 9.
You're not going to hold back a point because the one was so long ago?
No, I'm not German.
This is fucking America. This is the fucking America, United States.
Yeah.
Estados Unidos.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we have an actual, we have a legal system that works here.
Every baby gets a point in the United States, and on the Sick and Wrong program.
So I'm going to have to give it 9 points. So I'm willing to concede defeat here. But hey, as always, it's a democracy. So let's open it up to the listening audience. Send us an email, sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com, and decide who gets the case of beer this week for podcast 18. We've been getting a lot of listener email recently. I know a lot of people have been sending us some stuff.
I love it when people email in and vote, but I also encourage people just to email in with, anything they want to talk about. Stories, just personal things from their life they think are funny. Or
that's kind of what I was getting at. Is one thing I wanted to start doing here on the show is, talk about people's own sick and wrong stories. And we've been getting some of those. So people, if you have some sick and wrong stories involving you, your family, your friends, whatever, embarrass them right here on the podcast because we'll discuss them at length. One email I definitely want to get to here was from a Swede, a guy named Eric. He wants to be our Swedish correspondent, and I'm actually willing to nominate him to be a Swedish correspondent here for Sick and Wrong.
I think he's our first listener from Sweden, so you're the official one now.
Yeah, well, we have a lot in the UK. I've gotten some people from Germany, a couple in Hong Kong have been listening, but I think this is the first Swede to email us. Well, anyways, he emails us, said he liked the show a lot, but what was funny and what I found remarkable about his email was the fact that he asked us for some advice. So Eric claims that he's pretty down at the moment since he's having trouble getting over his ex-girlfriend. So I think Eric just went through a recent breakup.
Oh, that's rough.
I think I'm still in love here, but I'm pretty sure she is over me. So I think what happened is she must have dumped his ass.
Yeah.
It
He spends all his
seems like to
time
me.
listening to this stupid podcast, not enough time on the cunnilingus.
Exactly. He's been ignoring the cunnilingus, which you can't do if you're going to have a successful relationship. So he says he's sad, and he wants to know if we have any advice for him about getting back with his ex-girlfriend. So, I was talking to Lance here, and we were trying to think about this. And we're like, well, you know what? I think we could give him a little bit of advice.
I think we're the perfect people to ask about advice to get back with your girlfriend or get over your ex-girlfriend. Either one.
Either one, but I mean, I think
we're highly qualified for this type of advice.
And not to mention, it's like I used to be a strip club DJ, and I've dated many girls in my life. And, I worked at an industrial supply company at one time, so I think it's safe to assume.
You're a veritable expert on women.
Exactly. I think it's safe to assume that I know a bit about vagina. So, Eric, put it this way, you came to the right place.
I've seen a couple of vaginas in real life.
Yeah, I've seen several myself. So I think Eric came to the right place. And he mentioned that he added us from MySpace, and he saw our account on MySpace. So initially, what I did is I went over to his MySpace page and checked it out just to kind of, get more of a feel for it, maybe see a picture of his ex-girlfriend to see what he's talking about. Because if she's like some, fat, ugly old hag, and, he's like 40 or something, I'm going to be like, well, dump the bitch. Who cares?
Well, she dumped him already, but
she dumped
forget
him.
about
It's
it.
just like, forget about it, move on. But I'm looking at his page. The guy's kind of young. He's probably like in his mid-20s. And
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, and there's like, I don't know, multiple hot chicks on his page. So I'm thinking one of them must be his ex-girlfriend, so she's pretty hot. Thus, leading him to be, that's why he's feeling all this despair about being dumped by his ex-girlfriend. But the one thing that I noticed about his MySpace page, which might have played into the fact that she dumped him, was he had Morrissey in the background of the page. Did you notice that?
Sort of the wallpaper of his MySpace page.
The wallpaper of his MySpace page
is a
was
bunch of pictures of
Morrissey.
Morrissey.
And
The entire band, right?
So number one, no, I think it was like under, towards the bottom of the page, he had the entire band, but initially, at the top part of the page, he had just pictures of Morrissey. So I think number one, you got to get that off your MySpace page, dude. Seriously, you can be into Morrissey, just don't broadcast it to the entire fucking world.
Girls like dudes are into Morrissey and the Smiths
because it shows a sensitive side.
Yeah, they like them as friends.
Yeah, but in terms of like the cunnilingus, no.
Yeah, in terms of somebody they want to get it on with,
they're not going to be like Morrissey. You know what you should do, Eric? Instead of having Morrissey as your wallpaper, have Motorhead as your wallpaper. Chicks love Motorhead.
They love the bad boys.
And there's a ton of good bands from Sweden. What about like the Helicopters or Bathory? That's a good metal band you can have at the background, or maybe even Turbo Negro. They love Turbo Negro. Chicks dig that band.
Good band.
Yeah, that's I think they're Norwegian, but really, if you want to make them flow like a river and really get the pussy juices moving, Motorhead.
Yeah,
you got to be just Lemmy.
You got to be a little
back.
scary.
That's what I say. But anyways, so that's the number one. But number two, dude, get over it. Just get over the girl. She dumped your ass. There's no reason to pine about it.
And all these other girls from Sweden are on your page. Every girl that's on your MySpace page that's one of your MySpace friends who lives in Sweden is hot.
And exactly. It's a good point there, Lance. I was looking at that page and I'm thinking, I've never been to Sweden, so I don't know what the girls look like in Sweden. I'm looking at that page and all these Swedish girls are leaving him comments. Dude, every single girl in there I'd give my left nut to have sex with.
Yeah, we need to go to Sweden.
I think we do need to go to Sweden. There's like all these like 19, 20-year-old chicks that are just beautiful.
Maybe we can get Eric's ex-girlfriend's number.
Well, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It's, email us, Eric, stickaroundpodcast@hotmail.com. But no, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, dude, you're not living in North Dakota. If you're living in North Dakota surrounded by a bunch of fat pigs, yeah, okay, then there's reason for you to, pine about your breaking up with your girlfriend and getting dumped.
Yeah, you've already broken in that one fat pig. You don't want to have to break in a new fat pig. It's just a big nightmare.
Exactly.
But you live in this fertile land of these hot blonde. They're not all blonde, but some of them are blonde, and they're all, good-looking, European, very liberal sexually, I assume.
It's the Lucky Sperm Club over there. It's like these genetically superior women everywhere. It's like, I don't know, man. You're in like orgasmic heaven over there. So yeah, just go pick another one. Dude, you could throw a rock and hit a hot chick. I mean, there's so many. But anyways, in regards specifically to his request, do you have any advice for me? You're feeling upset because you got dumped. What you got to do if you really want to get over this is you need to get revenge, Eric.
And how should he do that, do you think? There's so many multiple ways to get revenge.
There's multiple ways, but I really think
we've talked about upper decking before.
I think the best way to get over an ex-girlfriend is either A, to go, fuck her sister or mom or some of her best friends.
Best friend.
That's a
best
good
friends.
Best friends.
Nice. Yeah, aim high.
And that's a good way to get revenge. But if you really want to make it personal, if you want to tailor that revenge, give her a venereal disease. Yeah. I really think VD really says fuck you.
Do you have any advice for which of the myriad venereal diseases he should choose?
Well,
probably something curable, right?
Yeah, I would definitely want to go for something curable. But if he wants to give
it
to
her, for your own sake,
yeah, for his own sake. But what I'm saying is, I don't think he should get a venereal disease himself. So what he's going to have to do is maybe take a technique from South Park and borrow her toothbrush or something. Like first of all, go talk to her, cajole her, get her to trust, gain her confidence again. Then take her toothbrush or her panties or something, and then go to Amsterdam and just like rub it on like the on one of the prostitutes over there or something. Yeah, no, there's tons of prostitutes in Amsterdam.
Maybe you can go over and say he wants to loan her some of his Morrissey records, and then get her toothbrush then.
And it's a good
because if he's taking our advice, he's going to get rid of his Morrissey records anyways. So yeah, just give them to her, get the toothbrush, go to Amsterdam, rub it on a whore, bring it back.
And then she's going to brush her teeth, and she's going to have herpes.
Yes.
And what guy is going to want to have sex with a girl with a bunch of sores on her mouth?
Not a single one.
So, no, I think giving her VD, venereal disease, I think is a good revenge, and it'll help you to feel better about yourself.
Right.
Number one. And, there's two ways to go about it. I mean, you could tell everybody that she has VD, or you can give her VD. And I think giving her VD is more effective.
Right. Then everybody will just know.
I just think it's
the
more to the point.
The rumor will spread itself.
But in summation, because we got to move on here. I can hear the music already starting. But Eric, thanks for emailing us. And and it's always good that you're asking us for advice because we're the right people to come to. But anyways, what you need to do is just move on. Get your revenge, move on, and go have sex with the million other hot chicks that live in Sweden. People, we invite you to send your own Sick and Wrong stories, sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com. Maybe in podcast 19 next week, we'll discuss some of these stories.
Yeah.
Or actually, maybe we can even start our own advice column here.
If you need advice on, do-it-yourself improvements to your home, girlfriend troubles, boyfriend troubles,
how to get rid of that bad case of genital warts,
whether you should be wiping forward or backward when you take a shit.
Always back to front.
Hey, don't give the advice now. Okay. Wait for the question.
I'm sorry. Yeah, send us your questions and your concerns. sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com. Well, we got to get out of here, but stay tuned next week for podcast 19. Until then, take it sleazy.
Smell you later.